model a double hyperbola. So we can start off by opening a new part. Firstly, we're going to model our double cones. So start off by opening a sketch on the front plane and sketch the center line for these double cones. So start from the origin and draw a line vertical and dimension it 400 millimeters. So now we can draw the generator for our first cone. So the end of this should be coincident with the midpoint. So you can see the midpoint icon there, and sketch a line here. Now this is still undefined, so we want to make it horizontal with the origin. Select the endpoint, hold control, select the origin and make horizontal. Still undefined, so we'll dimension it. So select the endpoint, select the center line. If you move to the right of the center line, we can add the diameter of our cone, which will be 200 millimeters. Now if we go open our surfaces tab and revolve surface. So if we revolve this an angle of 360 degrees and our axis being our center line. So there's our first of our double cones, and we're going to need that sketch for the second one. So if we expand the first surface revolution and right click sketch and show sketch. So now if you open another sketch on the front plane and look normal to. Now if we draw our another line, and this time one endpoint is going to be on the apex of our first cone and the second is going to be in line with the first generator and also in line with the top of our center line. So select our endpoint, hold control and select our generator. And make vertical. And it's also going to be in line with the top of our center line, so select the end of our center line, hold control and select the end of our line and make horizontal. So now this is ready to be revolved again. So surfaces tab, revolve surface. We need to put in the axis this time. So if we select our center line as our axis, it's already selected our generator and 360 degrees, so click OK. So there's our double cones. So we can rename these now. So if we select surface revolve 1, press F2 and we call it cone 1. Surface revolve 2, press F2 and call it cone 2. So now we're ready to model our focal spheres, but our cones are in the way. So we can make these transparent by selecting the Show Display Pane button at the top of our feature manager and select the Make Transparent option here, the glasses. So make transparent. Now we can model our focal spheres. So again we're going to open a sketch on the front plane and look normal to it, and we're going to draw the first of our focal spheres by using the 3-point arc and then revolving it again around our center line. So draw the 3-point arc, draw the first point of the arc coincident with the center line and the second also coincident, and we add the radius. Now this is still undefined, but it is all coincident with our center line. So if we add the radius in this case 45 millimeters, but it's still undefined, so we want to make it tangential with the generator. So if we select the generator, make sure that this icon does not come up because this is selecting the edge. We want to select the line, so the line icon should come up like that, vertical line. Select that, hold control, select the arc and tangent. We want to make tangent. So now that's fully defined. So we want a second focal sphere in the other cone, but instead of going through all that again, we can just mirror them. So if we draw another center line, this time going through the apex, So if we select the apex, hold Control and select the center line and make coincident. So now the center line is passing through our apex. So mirror entities, entities to mirror is our arc, and mirror about our center line, and click OK. So now we have the arc for our second revolution. So surfaces again, and revolve surface. Now we can see that it has selected already our axis of revolution, and it has selected the center line we've just drawn. This is not the center line we want, so if we click that box and press the delete button, and instead we select the center line of our double cones, and you can see here that the spheres are being input correctly now. So 360 degrees and the correct center line, and click OK. So there we have our focal spheres. So we can rename our surface revolve again, press F2, focal spheres. So now we want to add in our plane containing circle of contact. We don't know where the circle of contact is. So to do this, if we go into Sketch, and we have a tool here, intersection curve. So if we press intersection curve, and we want to select the bodies that will be intersecting, so select entities will be both of our double cones and both of our focal spheres. And if we press OK, this generates a 3D sketch, in this case being our circles of contact. So now we can input our cutting plane containing our double hyperbola. So to do so, we want to insert reference geometry and a plane. So now reference points for this plane. This plane is going to be parallel to the right plane and tangential to our focal spheres. So if we expand our feature manager here, our design tree, excuse me, and select right plane. So first it's giving us a distance offset from the right plane. So we don't want a distance, we want it just to be parallel. And the second reference being a focal sphere. So now it's fully defined. It is tangential to the focal sphere and parallel to the right plane. We know it's parallel because our focal spheres have the same radii. So now we can open up a sketch on this plane and look normal too. Now we're going to sketch the outline of our cutting plane. So we'll use center rectangle, center being the apex of our double cone. So I'm going to dimension this the same height as our double cones, 400 millimeters, and just a little bit wider, 210 millimeters. So now we go to surfaces and planar surface. So this has already selected our current sketch, and as you can see it's inputting a plane on this sketch. So there's our new plane, but it is blocking the rest of our model, so we want to make it transparent, and we can hide the plane that it's sketched on. So now we have our cutting plane, which will contain our hyperbolae. So to show them, again we go to our sketch tab and intersection curve. So the surfaces that will be intersecting to give us our hyperbola are our double cones and our cutting plane. So click OK, and there you can see our double cones, our double hyperbola, excuse me. So now we can rename our sketches. So we'll rename our first 3D sketch, press F2, call it circles of contact. And rename our planar surface as cutting plane. And once we exit the sketch, we can rename our 3D sketch as our hyperbolae. So now we can input our planes containing our circles of contact. Again, to do this we go to Insert, Reference Geometry and Plane. So it's looking for a reference point. So we can select our circle of contact, and this is fully defined as the plane can go at no other angle than that of the circle of contact. So now we can sketch again on this plane to input our planar surface. So look normal 2 and sketch a center rectangle from the origin. So I dimension this, I'm going to make it 210 millimeters square. So to make it square, select one line, hold Control, select the other and make equal. Okay, again surfaces, planar surface. It's already selected our current sketch, so we can see it there, and OK. Again, hide the plane that it's sketched on, and also make the planar surface transparent. So we repeat this for the other circle of contact. Insert, Reference Geometry, Plane. Reference point being our circle of contact. Open sketch on this new plane. Look normal 2, center rectangle from the origin. This time make it coincident with the corner point of our previous planar surface, and it automatically fully defines our sketch. Surfaces tab, planar surface. It's already selected our current sketch, so that's OK, and hide the plane it's sketched on. So we can rename a few things here. We can rename our plane containing a circle of contact. So I'm going to call this circle of contact plane 1, and oops, circle of contact plane 2. So we make that transparent again. So now there's our model, but we can also sketch in our focal points. So to do so, we want to open a sketch on this planar surface, but we can't actually open a plane on the planar surface, so we actually have to use the plane. So plane 2 here is the plane on which we sketched our cutting plane. So open a sketch on that, look normal 2, and we're going to sketch a point for our focal points. So if we hover the mouse over our focal spheres, we can see the center, and we know our focal points will be in line with that center of our focal sphere. So we do the same top and bottom. And exit sketch. So now we can change the color of our object as well. So we can change the color of all aspects. So beside the transparent icon, there's an appearance icon. So if we select that, we can make all of these different colors. So make the double cones transparent and light blue. Make the focal spheres shiny and red. Make the circles of contact. To edit the color of a 3D sketch, we right click, title and sketch color. So we'll make these yellow. Next we have our cutting plane. So we make that transparent, pink. Our hyperbola, 3D sketch, so right click the title, sketch color, in green. Next we have our planar surface containing our circles of contact. So again, these need to be transparent and yellow, and we make the other one the same color. And lastly, our focal points. We must rename these. and right click and sketch color and make these black. So there we have our model of our double hyperbola.